Namaste everyone, and welcome to the Magdalene Centre's weekly reading. My name is Kerry, and thank you for joining us today. Just for a timestamp, date stamp, today is the 2nd of September, Monday. Oh, okay, just some housekeeping notes. I'm in the conservatory and it's sort of midday, so the lighting's not the best, as well as the fact that the little kids from next door are having playtime. And the wind is blowing, so there is a lot of wind chime noise, which is always beautiful. So yeah, just excuse all the extra noises. Everything works together. Okay, so we would normally aim to get the video out a little bit earlier, but everything happens when it needs to happen, so it's meant to happen now. If you pick up this video and it's way past this date stamp, that's fine. It is when you are supposed to receive the video. Alright, so we're going to ask the Holy Spirit to give us the messages for the Magdalene Centre and all our beautiful Magdalenes out there, which are not exclusively just women. Okay, Holy Spirit, give us guidance for the week. That one was flying. Give us our shine the light on what we need to see this week so far. Ooh. Oh gosh. Oh, they are flying. Okay. Oh. It's alive. Ooh. Oh yes, baby. The picture is forming. Okay, so this is a message from the Holy Spirit to everyone, really. But not everyone will pick up the video, and that's fine. The ways of our Father are deeply mysterious. So if the message resonates for you, give us a thumbs up. Possibly a share, if it moves your heart, moves your spirit, and thinks it's relevant for someone else. And by all means, please subscribe to our channel. Okay, this is very exciting. I'm going to stop now because let's go for it. Okay. Alright, so the overall energy that I'm getting, okay, so it's the 9th month. So we were in September, it's the 9th month, a month of completion. It's also closing of circles and everything you need to bring you to that place where you can complete things. You can end things. And you can begin new things, or you can transform things. But in order for that to happen, you know, a lot of you need to get the information. Okay, now, true to form, everything you need to know is already inside of you. Or if you stop just to sort of meditate and contemplate, the information would come to you. We are all essentially spiritual beings having a human experience, a human incarnation. So until you realize that, you are operating in the world as the person. You are the person. The person is arrived at through your thoughts, what you think you are. I think I'm this. I think I'm this, or I know I'm this because this is my job, this is my life, this is the history of my life, this is what's happened to me. All of the things that you were either told or you experienced creates thoughts, some conscious, some subconscious, some in your superconscious. But some of the thoughts aren't even your thoughts. They're sort of wafting literally through the ethers. But we'll talk more about that as we go along in our videos. Okay, so once you make that switch, and it is a switch, it's that epiphany moment when you realize, actually, I'm not limited to just being the person. You were born, someone gave you a name. That the actual name that you have carries a vibration and energy, but that's another conversation. And then you were subjected to whatever your caregivers were doing, saying, speaking, showing, and that formed your understanding and your perception of who you were. And basically that's kind of a program that runs from your subconscious since that time. So at some point in your life, this might be the moment, you will realize actually, before someone gave me a name, God gave me a name. The Creator gave me a name. And that name is I am. Okay. I am spirit. I am a spiritual being having a human experience, a human journey, a human incarnation. Okay, so on with the reading. So the first card that we have is burden. Okay. So this is for the Magdalenes, I'm feeling. Those individuals who are the givers. The empaths, the healers, the spiritual people who are at that transitionary point. Sorry. Are at that transitionary point between where they come to that understanding that they are carers. You are to care, but a lot of you are still carrying. Okay, this month we cannot carry, we cannot enable people, we cannot keep feeding those codependents, those vampire energies, those narcissistic energies. We also can't carry other people's burdens. Everyone has to take responsibility. The world is changing. I'm going to explain it in a certain way. We've all been living and understanding and perceiving life through 3 dimensions. A lot of us are moving towards 5 dimensions. Another way of saying that is you can say that the Spirit of Christ is being made manifest in individuals. It's the same thing. 5D, Spirit of Christ made manifest. So part of that, my darlings, is that we have to step back. We have to step back. As empaths, it's very, very difficult. But it is in the stepping back, in the realizing that it is not, you're not going to save anyone, my darlings. You're not going to save anyone. No one is saving anyone. The person that was coming and has come to save everyone, that's already happened. That has already happened. That pathway has been created. From that point on, we have to take responsibility to save ourselves, essentially, through the process of awakening to who we really are. You're not the person, you're the self. Okay? And as a self, you realize that the most powerful place you can be in is not in this mentally, how can I solve this person's problem? How can I help this person? From the person to person, but you help them from the self, which means you don't carry their burdens. You make space for them. So we're going to see, but in order for us to see this, we have to break free from the delusions and the deceptions that we're holding, deception card, that we're holding within our own psyche. When we do our readings, we don't really focus on what other people are doing. We focus on the effect of what other people are doing is having on us. We focus on that. Because other people are just a mirror for what we need to be looking at within ourselves. Okay, so number 1 for this week, burdens. Are they your burdens or are they other people's burdens? We have to take the other people's burdens off our shoulders clearly some of us have enough of our own. Okay, we're going to be experiencing some disruption this week. So your plans that perhaps you had an idea of what was going to happen might not run exactly to plan. This week's about the ultimate surrender, completion. Okay, the ultimate surrender to the divine plan for your life. Because soon will come the time for planting seeds for next year. Okay, so there's going to be a period of possibly disruption. So this can be disruption in travel, in plans, in ideas. I mean, even in making this video, there was lots of disruptions. But it's about how you deal with it. So it's about going with the flow. It's kind of the Merlin card, which could be the Magician and the Tarot card. I've got, you know, that balance, justice. Things are aligning. Okay, we're going into a major time. Well, we're in a huge time of human evolution, and this 3-dimensional and 5-dimensional timeline perceptions are becoming stronger and stronger. So those on the 5D timeline are perceiving from the 5D, but of course there's always that constant pullback into the 3-dimension. Those guys that are on the 3-dimensional still are watching people transform before their eyes, making them very nervous, very fearful for the change that they can perceive as coming. And this brings out a lot of anger and jealousy, which interestingly is the next card. So we can expect a lot of anger and jealousy, not necessarily from yourself. If there is, you need to ask yourself why. So it's definitely a check yourself before you wreck yourself kind of week. What does that mean? It means that, I'll give you an example. When Yeshua went into the temple just before the crucifixion, he saw, you know, the money changers and the people selling goods in the sanctified area of the temple, and he went away. The first clue. He went away and he plaited a whip. I wonder how long it took Yeshua to plait the whip. Probably longer than maybe a few seconds. Okay, what does it say? It said basically he went away and he thought about it. He went away and he probably prayed or communed with God, with the Holy Spirit. He gave it that time and that space for a divine solution to be given. And this is what we're asked this week. Don't just jump into conclusions. Things aren't necessarily going to be like they seem. They may look away, but perhaps you're seeing it from a point of anger or jealousy. Perhaps you're seeing it from a point of some shadow that you need to bring into the light. So it's not about jumping to conclusions. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. It's not about jumping to conclusions based on what you see. It's about check yourself before you wreck yourself. He went away. He plaited a whip. Okay, by the time he returned and whipped the tables over, it goes from being a reaction to being a response. It's about responding this week, responding appropriately, not responding from anger, retaliation, and jealousy. Okay, now, the deception card is very, very, very important, because this ties in with things that are happening in the astrology. I'm not an astrologer in the scientific form of the word, but you could say I'm an intuitive astrologer, so I can feel what's happening intuitively. So, but obviously it's of great interest to me, so I do look into it. So I do follow some people who I think are great astrologers, and from time to time I will put their links to some of their videos. But very importantly, we have a galactic center of Jupiter situation going on, as well as we have Saturn going from a retrograde to a direct motion. Now Saturn, amongst many things, just a few keywords: karma, time. Did you play by the rules? If you've got people in your life who are deceiving you and being deceptive, it's because there is something within yourself that's either attracting this or highlighting it to you, and you're going to see a lot of that this week. Okay, so with Saturn basically in its slow down phase, ready to station and then move direct by the middle of the month, we have to watch every word that comes out of our mouth. Every word. And if for some reason we decide to deceive anybody, guaranteed, when Saturn moves direct, the karma's coming. Because the karma's already coming for everything for the whole season when Saturn moves direct. So this is kind of the last 2 weeks where people get an opportunity to make their decision. What have you decided? After everything that's happened this year to everybody, internally, within yourself, the changes you've made, you have to, at this juncture, you have to ask yourself this very one question. Who am I? If the response to that question is, I'm a spiritual being, having a human existence, a human incarnation, and you understand that, you've chosen well. If you understand that the material things are just functional, if you understand that there is something greater than you, and that something that is greater than you is working through you, you are co-creating your life, that everyone's ultimate function in life, doesn't matter what your job is, doesn't matter what car you drive or don't drive, doesn't matter about the colour of your skin, the religion you were brought up in, the country you were brought up in. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is, and we take this from the Lord's Prayer, you are supposed to create heaven on earth, your version of heaven and earth. That's something that's greater than you, lives in you, with you and through you. Where you go, you take that with you. You take God with you. In essence, you've never really left heaven. You just believe you have, because you took on the Adam role, the role of Adam, the firstborn. Okay, nothing is going to stop the awakening. Nothing is going to stop that spirit of truth returning that to each individual in their own understanding. So this is a huge period of time. This is happening. But while this is happening, of course, it causes great disruption. But this week it's about checking yourself before you wreck yourself. It's about responding, taking appropriate action. I'm taking too long. I'm going to finish this off. The plan is that we do the reading and then we take it over to Vimeo, where I give you the tools. We do a meditation. I give you the tools to actually navigate the week and navigate what's going on. Okay, so there might be some deception going on around you. That's fine. My advice, do nothing. Don't react, because the information that you need, or the clarity around the deception, will be clear. You'll know. You'll know. Okay? I know you guys are so far on your spiritual journey that, you know, the Holy Spirit is working with you and that intuition is fast. But there will be a tendency to really pull people back into the lower levels, the three-dimensional thinking. Okay? Some of this deception is, a lot of us are still holding on to delusions and things, but through the deception will come the wisdom. Okay? The wisdom is written on there. You might not be able to see. Deception always brings wisdom. Who is renowned as the great deceiver? The great deceiver. Well, the devil, you know, the devil. It's the great deceiver. So, when you can identify that deception, so you bring that deception to light, or that deception is brought to light, then it brings you the wisdom, it brings you information, clarity, and the wisdom to make the right choices and make the right choices and to move away from those energies that no longer serve you. Okay, so anger, retaliation, and jealousy, that's the don't react don't react, respond. Okay, now, because we've got, this is quite intense energy, and it'll be with everything that's going on with Mars, and oh, I'm not an astrologer, I can feel it. So a lot of intense energy, a lot of triggering, but then on the upside, a lot of creative ideas, a lot of passion, listening to the intuition. So for some of us who've got a lot of fiery energy in us already, it's about let's do the gentleness and diplomacy. Let's handle things with gentleness and diplomacy, which is hilarious. Because I recorded a video last week, and you know what, I would have probably been banned. If you could hit every controversial subject in one video, yeah, I nailed it. So there were some problems with the video, and the video wouldn't upload, so that was Big Daddy going. Gentleness and diplomacy, Miss KK. Gentleness and diplomacy. Alright, my darling. For the ladies amongst us, or for the gentlemen amongst us that are working on their feminine energy, it's a time to understand the Queen energy within you. Okay, the Queen energy. So what I'm getting is, ladies, come on. We got to know who we are. It literally is imprinted upon us as women to find a mate, to find a husband. Okay, it's in scriptures. We'll deal with that in a video. And it's due to the fall of the Adam and the Eve and the Garden of Eden and all of that kind of thing. So let's just take that as metaphors at this point, and symbolism when we talk about that. So henceforth the punishment, the responsibility that you had to take for that error, is you will feel as a woman like this internal drive, motivation, need for a mate. Okay. So if you don't know your values, lady, you might sell yourself short. If you're a queen, you deserve a king. The divine plan is the female be the reflection of the Magdalene, the male be the reflection of Yeshua. They can only achieve that if the female is a reflection of the Spirit of Christ, the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit made manifest within the female. Same with the man. We're never going to arrive at that plan. We're never going to arrive unless us as women we realize that she was literally the goddess of Christianity. I'm not, you know what I mean? I didn't invent this. But this truth has been revealed to me very, very powerfully. And so when you are in that Magdalene energy, you don't need a mate because you are completely self-sufficient. So the mate that you will feel perfectly aligned with will be a king. He will be complete. He won't have all that wounded ego, or he will be committed to healing that wounded ego, and you will work together at that. Because the combination of the two of you will change your whole world. You create that heaven on earth, whatever that means for you. And for having people observing that, well, you're not preaching, guys. You're basically a walking example of the Spirit of Christ made manifest in human beings, with all the gifts and the mysterious, wonderful marvelousness that comes with that. So the last two cards, the Merlin. Okay, so this is about the karma issue. People talk about karma and they think, oh, negative. Well, it's only negative if that's what you've put out. Karma is like gravity. If I throw something up in the air, I've only got a glass and mug, so I won't. There's a ball there, but not sorry. If I throw something into the air, it's going to fall to the ground. That's gravity. No one really is going to argue that. You can't see gravity, but you can see the effects of gravity. Spiritual laws are the same. You can't necessarily see it, but you can see its effects. And when we talk about karma, or you reap what you sow, is another way of saying that. Or what you give out, you get back is another way. Karma. Spiritual law, it exists like gravity. Without it, God would have to judge us. Without spiritual laws, God would have to judge us. So in order for God not to have to judge us, karma exists so that that balance can be restored. Okay, so karma is not necessarily a negative thing, but for some it is. But that's because that's what they put out. But some it's very positive. And I have to tell you, my ladies and gentlemen, that all of your good work, okay, and I'm not just talking about this period, what I'm saying basically is the tides are changing, the wheel of fortune is moving, and everything that you've given out, all that unconditional love, care, maybe you were misguided, maybe you were naive, and that, you know, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect. The search for perfectionism is a deception. All the deceptions, that whether we're bringing them upon ourselves or whether we're allowing other people to put their deceptions upon us, to tell us who we are, to burden us with the idea of who we are, keeping us far away from the royalty of who we are. That's being addressed. That balance is coming. That karmic wheel is turning. So everything you've ever put out, all that unconditional love you've ever, is not gone unnoticed, because there'll be luck, sweet victory, and industriousness. Okay, your luck may come in the form of a brilliant idea. This is how you manifest something, boys and girls. You have an idea. Okay, it's in the ethers. That's a spiritual concept, an idea. It's in the ethers. Okay, it doesn't exist here yet. It's an idea. Okay, you then write it down on a piece of paper. Well, now that idea exists in this dimension. It's written on a piece of paper. You can see it. You can read it. So it's gone from an idea, something that's floating around in the ethers, quite mysterious, you know, an idea. Where does ideas come from? You've written it down. Now it exists in this dimension of things you can see and touch and feel and taste. Okay. The next thing you do is you take at least one step every day, and soon that idea will exist tangibly in your life. No one ever climbed a mountain any other way than by putting one foot in front of the other. That's all you're required to do. Okay? So that luck and industriousness, and so because of your industriousness, because you kept going, your perseverance, you kept going, you kept going, you kept going, you kept going, you kept going. You've turned the other cheek many times, gentleness and diplomacy. You now have to unload everyone else's burdens, bring all of that energy inside of yourself just for a period of time. Okay, just for a period of time. Do not be overreacting. Alright, respond, 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 respond. If a stinger comes, if someone comes with their jealousy, their negativity and their anger towards you, you can always just swat it away. Okay, when it stings you or not, down to you, my darlings. Okay. Some of us need to have some serious, uncomfortable conversations with people this week. The advice is diplomatically. Another good idea is have the conversation with, if you're going to have a difficult conversation with someone, or what you perceive as a difficult conversation with somebody, have that conversation before you actually have the conversation. Have it in the spirit. The self of you having the conversation with the self of them in spirit, even if they have no perception of these matters. So some of us will start seeing the fruits of our labors, that beautiful, wonderful, karmic return of blessings. Some of us are due karmic return for many, 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 many years. Some of us our whole lifetimes. It's on its way, girls and boys. It's on its way. We have to just keep pulling ourselves, having the discipline to keep pulling ourselves from the negative back into the positive. Having our desire to break free from any delusions we're holding on to. Anything to do with the person. The person is very limiting. P words. Person, pain, problem, poverty, pity. Positive words as well, like pleasure, but I mean, some people could take pleasure to the extreme. These are all things to do with the person. You're not the person, you're the self. The self is unlimited. So let's not pull ourselves back into personhood this week. Okay, so this week on a practical level, I think I'm going to do one more card, ladies and gentlemen. Magdalene Oracle. Can we have one card from Magdalene Oracle? Okay, those of you that are struggling with financial issues at the minute, that is fine. Oh, decision. You have to make your decision. I know it's tough. You have to make your decision. You have to pull away, bring it in, bring that energy in. 3 have come out. Alright, I'm not even pulling anymore because this will be a whole other reading. Okay, I'm going to take this reading over to another platform. So I'm just going to finish up here. There's just so much to say. Alright, so the first one that came out was decision. It is decision time. By the 16th of September, everyone has to have made the decision. The short way of putting it is, you're staying on the 3 dimension for now, you're entrenched on that, you're going to get hauled out at some point later. The net result is your September becomes what I call Chateau de Collapso, tower. Or your decision is you've made the hard choices to pull away from those people that you've had to give tough love to, offload their burdens, not carrying, not enabling. We're all children of God. Big Daddy knows how to take care of each one of us. Okay, it's not our job to save anyone. That's being done. Okay, you have to make that decision to choose yourself. Especially if you're an empath, you've got to choose yourself. You've got to choose yourself. I'm not going into that. You know what I'm talking about. You've got to choose yourself. You can see their pain. You know why they're doing it. You know their pain. You need to surrender. Okay, you don't have all the information as much as you believe you do. Okay. Universal Christ, which is what we've been speaking about, the Spirit of Christ made manifest. And sacred sexuality, which is to do with the twin flame, it's to do with that sacred union which we spoke about earlier in the video. So just as some confirmations, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, sons and daughters, my friends and my family, thank you for joining with us today for the video. I will continue the video a bit later. I'll run another one. I don't really... If I sit down and start speaking, it all comes out, but we have to have sort of a beginning and an end. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I normally do this in person with the people from the Magdalene Center, so doing it on a video format is a new thing for me. Feels a bit odd, if I'm honest, but just like everyone else, I have had to heal my empath wound. We've been very fortunate to have Chiron helping us out with that. And as empaths, if we can heal that empathic wound, that mystic reality, that is an actual reality, the mysteries of God, that we are the keepers and the stewards of, you'll start seeing it. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Have a blessed, blessed day. May the Holy Spirit bless you, keep you, illuminate your path. May the magic surround you. Namaste, everybody.